Hello and welcome everyone to a Division 2 matchup between two pretty strong teams actually. UCLA and Northwestern. Both of their A teams are going at it. Here we have Epicness at 2200 from UCLA against Antonio, who's 2400 top board for Northwestern against the bottom board from UCLA. So UCLA with their bottom board being a 2200, not too shabby. Definitely a strong team to go up against. Northwestern. Let's see. I don't see their fourth board just yet. Let me make sure I'm following all the players. Here they are. Okay, so this is UCLA's top board, Gabe. Other Gabe, I should say, at 2500. Northwestern's bottom board is 2 points shy of 2100. So UCLA, I guess, is technically the favorite here in terms of rating. But this Northwestern team's still pretty strong. Both these teams probably towards the top of their division, I suspect. But yeah, we got Epicness. This is Roland with the white pieces. Both sides castle, king side. Looks like white has a strong center. Need to get this bishop out eventually. Not entirely clear how to do that just yet. Got to move this knight somewhere. Rook to e1, maybe preparing for e5. And e5 is a good move to open up the bishop as well. And so black plays e5 first, putting a clamp down on white's e4 pawn, which is stopping the bishop. So white has a couple of choices. Right now, black is threatening to take, and win a pawn. So d5 has been played. And now this knight reroutes. So rook e1, not only getting a rook on the e-file, but also clearing the f1 square for the knight, which opens up for the bishop. So this game's being played pretty well so far. So the knight and queen both awkwardly placed back here. Rook here, now the knight lands on this beautiful f5 square. Looking at the dark squares, hitting the bishop. This bishop's acting as a tall pawn at the moment right now, maybe to go back to help protect the king a little bit. So we have bishop a6. This is part of the reason why these pieces went backwards here, to help support the a6, trying to trade off some material here. So black is very cramped in space, so trading should be good for them. But the position's still pretty good for white. Okay, the bishop finally develops. We had c4 first, taking away this square. So what's the threat? The threat is to take the bishop, then take the knight. And that's probably pretty strong as it is, actually. Probably a queen move, maybe? No, queen has to defend the knight, so queen can't defend the bishop as well. So yeah, I guess this king's gonna be torn open here. Yeah, maybe get this knight back so that the queen's not tied down. All right, let's look at Chess Elephant here. This is Daniel Yedidia, one of the leaders of the team, the vice president, I believe, of the UCLA Chess Club. Board 3 here on the A team, up against Gummy Bear. Gummy Bear is also board 3, so I probably have the scoreboards mixed up. Okay, so this is other Gabe's game. Appears to be Ooh, this is very annoying actually. Queen takes was rough. White didn't want to take with the pawn to isolate the pawn, but they had to because after queen takes knight here, I don't see how the queen defends the pawn. So queen b5 check. There's bishop block, and then you're getting forked. If you go queen here, there's f5, and this pawn's defended by the bishop. So Gabe should win this game up in exchange and up on time. So queen here, just f5 now. And yeah, Gabe finds it pretty easily. So the National Master top board from UCLA should be able to win that one against Northwestern's board 4. Here we have Hiron, a candidate master on board 2 with the white pieces. Neither side has castled, but white is ready to castle either which way. Rook to d1, opposite the queen. So they've pushed the g-pawn kind of awkwardly. Castling kingside might be weird, but now they can't. I don't know why. Why wouldn't you castle queenside? You've got the 3 pawns, the 2 knights. Castling queenside looks pretty good here, because you also get the rook to the d file and you get your king to safety. Perhaps afraid of the eventual pawn storm on that side, but I mean this king would also be nervous to castle into white's attack this way. So who knows? I'm not a master, nor am I 2300. So let's check out back to Roland's game against Antonio El Camborio, who is actually Nikhil. So Northwestern has, I don't know if they're well, they have to be siblings. Kolgaki, board 1 and board 2 from Northwestern. The boundless main. So maybe we have. I'm trying to figure out the scoreboard. What's wrong with that? So the knight is hit. Probably go to d4 is my guess. So boundless main. I'm pretty sure the UCLA A team should be. Oh, it's Chess Elephant is board 2 now. Okay. Well, Chess Elephant just recently got the National Master title, which is pretty exciting. I didn't realize the UCLA A team had 3 title players on it. So, okay, Roland looks to be doing really well here. So they did take on e7 and then take on f6, I believe. And that does ruin the pawn structure. Now the second knight lands on f5, and this knight is an absolute beast. An absolute monster. And black is going to have to bring the knight here to try to trade it. So I think we've got these pieces placed pretty well, and now the rook is joining the attack. This is going to be really strong here. So queen g6 probably should be played for black. Try to get this queen out of the way. So we shall see. We shall see. White will try to keep the queens on the board. So yeah, black finds queen g6. Very logical move. They're under a minute now. White brings the queen back to f3. So this does block the rook a little bit. Perhaps the queen should have gone back even further. Yeah, imagine rook g3 right there. So queen and rook doubled here. This rook has to watch out for the fork. And now this knight is coming in to contest this beautiful knight on f5. So it looks like black has been able to get things in order. Like, yeah, if the queen had gone back to e2 or even d1, black could not have played rook g8 because rook to g3 would have just won on the spot. You would smother the queen, essentially. Well, I guess no, queen can't go here either because the queen was on this diagonal. So yeah, that queen would have been trapped. Okay, so trade of knights. Very interesting. I would have considered maybe knight here. Maybe. Maybe not. But yeah, white's bringing the other rook over. So material is technically even. Queen and 2 rooks versus queen and 2 rooks. White has the better pawn structure. And looks like they're going to be playing for f4, perhaps. Black has everything lined up on the g file. So only f3. Little passive. I think any advantage that white had is no longer there. I think this position is now back to equality. I mean, just slightly worse, but who knows? Yeah. h5 now. Let's check on Daniel, the chess elephant. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. So what is happening here? Chess elephant is up a pawn, but it's 2-0 on the outside, which is very valuable. However, the time situation is looking really rough. Also, I'm just going to fix the scoreboard really quick. There. That would bother me otherwise. Okay. So defending f7, trying to get these pawns moving. Oh, let's see here. 3 seconds, 2, 1. Time. Other Gabe wins with the flag. Looks like the position was collapsing at this point as the queen is hanging. And the rook is going to be traded. Yeah, okay. So let's tune back into Elephant's game. Let's give Gabe the first point of the match. Top board from UCLA. Taking the lead. So yeah, black's just defending these queenside pawns, trying to push them slowly but surely. White's trying to blockade this. They launched this pawn. Creating a lot of space in front of the king. I'm not sure if that's the best idea. Now the pawns are moving. Check. Push again. No, pinning the rook. Rook gets out of the pin and now pushing. Trade of rooks. Another check. Queen block. Queen here attacking this, but now pushing here. That's promoting next. The queen's blocking that as well. Beautifully played by Daniel. Low on the clock, but doesn't need the time. The position is more than sufficient. So board 2 from UCLA gets a win. Now it's down to Northwestern's top 2 boards. Looks like Antonio's winning this one. So Roland is stuck in Zugzwang now. Allowing king d3. Yeah, this a5 pawn push was great. Giving up the e pawn. But now all the pawns fall. Holding on to this guy, but this pawn's passed. Yeah, I don't even need to take this one. And saving that one too. Not even allowing for the race to happen. Last board here. Boundless Main versus Hiron. Less than 20 seconds for both sides. Less than 10 seconds for Hiron. Both players are 2300. Boundless Main has a rook against the 2 pieces. So technically the 2 pieces are favored. However, they have a lot of pawns. A lot of pawns. So they're up 2 pawns for 2 pieces versus the rook. Giving up the G pawn to take the B pawn. I don't know why Hiron hasn't decided to go for this. Okay, yeah. They're forcing the issue here. Okay, but this pawn can be hunted down. Knight here. You cannot defend it this way. Okay, this pawn is hit. If you go here, you get checked. So knight here to block. Very interesting. Very interesting. So now the bishop wants to come around this way. Wow, and it's supported by the knight as well. That's kind of crazy. So here, bishop back. Oh, we have a sacrifice. Hold up. Is this good though? Is this good? You don't have to defend this because this pawn's gonna. Oh no, the pawn's promoting. Wait. Hold on. Here, push. Here, wow. Pawn push, genius. All right, Boundless Main should win this one. Yeah, just try to stalemate. No, giving up. So the top two boards from both teams get wins. That was a very close game. Pawn to e3 was very nice. Yeah, the king should never have taken on h5. The bishop should have moved first, I think. But I think the rook sacrifice for the knight was risky but well executed from Boundless Main here. So the siblings from Northwestern, the top two players, getting the job done. We're tied up 2-2 after round 1. So round 2 should be starting any minute. Perhaps even any second. All right, so here we go. Akil versus Roland. We have d4, knight f6. Very classic setup here. e6, yes. Looking for d5. Okay, bishop out first. And now maybe d5. No, castling immediately. White connects their knights. Again, d5. There it is. Now the bishop is put into question. Bishop back to e7. Now taking here. That allows for pawn takes. And now we have c6 supporting the pawn chain. This bishop can come out, perhaps with tempo. And does so. So now either the queen moves or the pawn pushes. So the queen moves. There's a little bit of pressure on h7, but this knight is there to defend. Now, just got to get the queen and the knight out. We have h6 moved, so that the knight doesn't have to babysit. Now we have the knights connected. Pawn hits the bishop. Bishop tucks back to e6. Now the knight could take it, but does it want to take it? That is the question. Let's tune into the top board from Northwestern. Nikhil. So Nikhil's got the Nikhil's got the white pieces. Fianchetto, dark square bishop. This bishop's blocking the d pawn. Kind of awkward for black a little bit. Knight develops now hitting the pawn, but it blocks the bishop. Queen here trying to get to the king side. Trying to sneak its way on over. So, even though the d pawn is blocked by the bishop, the light square bishop still gets on the long diagonal. But now it's kind of blocked by its own pawn. This knight probably wants to come trade itself, is my guess, perhaps. So is white going to follow up with this queen e1 idea? Is the queen going to come out to play? If you come out to either g3 or h4, the knight could come here with tempo. So we have g4 first. This is high risk. Weakening the king side for sure, but initiating an attack. So this also takes away the f5 square, which will help support the queen to come in, not allowing knight f5 with tempo. So, very double-edged move. They're going for it. They're sending it. Hiron's thinking now. Deciding on knight to g6. Controlling h4. Both of these knights can be kicked at any moment. So, let's say there's like a mate threat on h7. Well, your knight can't be trusted. And the knight's kicked away already. So, the only other idea was perhaps knight g5 to try to induce a pawn push, retreat, and then go for the pawn push. Just try to blast open this king. So yeah, it's a bit tricky here. It's not so clear. I'd say that white is definitely the side pressing the matters, forcing the issues. Looks like f5 and then f6 are on the agenda. So maybe if f5 we have, oh, maybe we need to bring the queen out first. Maybe. It's a very interesting position though. Okay. Let's check out UCLA's top board. The other Gabe. The other Gabe's down some time here actually. So what's going on? We have 2 knights, 2 rooks versus knight and bishop. The knight on d5 is currently hit. Huh. Wow, computer says it's dead even with rook takes. It's rook takes, rook takes. That's the line apparently for equality. If rook takes, pawn takes, knight check, king here. That's got to be just a draw, right? I have no idea. So yeah, that's why Gabe's thinking so much here, probably calculating rook takes c6. Would be my guess. Because, I mean, if you think about it, your knight doesn't have a lot of other options. Maybe you can go here, but then maybe this. Then no, you get the fork in because both knights control the square. So yeah, why aren't you going knight c7? What's wrong with knight c7? Maybe pawn push is annoying. Because the bishop controls this square, the pawn would fork the rooks. Yeah, way down on the clock. 4 minutes and 7 seconds to 1:20. That is quite the time burner move. F3 is the move here. You could still follow through with D3, honestly. D3 is really annoying. And there it is. D3 played immediately. So now Gabe just spent like over 2 minutes of their 5 minutes on that one move. F3. And this is what's happening now. So yeah, this is a big issue. Probably you want to move a rook. Just my guess. Yeah, under a minute now for Gabe. So Gabe might go down on this one. Board 1 versus board 3 Gummy Bear Ethan Wu from Northwestern. The strongest player on the team that is not part of the Golgotki family. Speaking of the Golgotkis, let's check out Northwestern's board 2, Akil. Looks like white has a very strong center, as well as perhaps just a better pawn structure. White's got this weak isolated e pawn holding on by a thread, trying to trade rooks. This is my instinctual move. Perhaps it's not so good. The bishop move clears the way for the knight to land on f4. So if we go here, pawn or takes to rook takes, pawn push. Okay, we have this move, which seems like a sacrifice. Just simply taking this somehow is going to be annoying. So I'm not sure I understand this move from Roland. So they take with the b pawn. Queen c6, attacking this pawn. Let's check back in on Gabe. He's got less than 10 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, so they gained back a couple seconds. There's a check, but yeah, 3 minutes to 6 seconds. Like, this pawn push next is gonna hurt. King h7. This should just be game over. Should be. D2 now. You cannot bring either rook back, but here you just make a queen. You just make a queen. Whoa. Okay, this works too. but I thought taking with or promoting would have been better. Yeah, this is lost. Okay, let's look at the top board from Northwestern against Hiron. Nikhil. So it looks like White's got a really nice pawn invasion happening. Queen h6, rook g8 has to be played. Oh, I guess there was technically f2 check. But trying to get the queens off. Queen says no thanks. I'm going to move my knight. I'm going to go rook to h3. And I'm going to take on h7. Or I'm going to move my knight first, then take on h7, then play rook h3. So yeah, knight f4 is GG in my book. So you have to play h6. Basically. Or rook g7. These are your only options. Queen takes is a huge threat. The threat is checkmate, which would be very pretty to see queen h7 mate. So yeah, Gummy Bear with the upset win, taking Northwestern's lead for the first time in the match. So yeah, this game should be over. Antonio should win this. Let's check out this game here. 49 seconds to 30 seconds. Looks like we have a collision on f6. King over and rook f8's just mating too. Black has back rank issues. So Boundless Main just has to find it in 30 seconds. Oh, Chess Elephant won from UCLA with a checkmate. So let's see how this unfolded. So queen check. And now we get the rook here. Queen takes pawn. Win the knight. Rook check. Queen comes in, and that's GG. Alright, so this one, wow. So White did not find mate in 2. Rook here. Queen back, but wait. Oh. There's bishop check. Yeah, I'm confused, but okay. So the queen comes back to defend everything. Okay, trade of queens, very interesting. Check, block. Yeah, black is just down an exchange and a pawn. So that's kind of frustrating. Bishop f4. Rook takes, maybe? Huh. Well, at least black has this nice knight on d5. But white has 2 passed pawns on the outside. Yeah, pawn push, king up. I would go bishop f3. Okay, bishop here as well. Knight takes, bishop takes. Oh, that's a huge blunder from white in time pressure. Roland was down in exchange. Bishop b6 was a huge mistake. Oh my goodness. Yeah, bishop d6 to play king c7. King c7 now. If you're white, do not play a7. Wow, sack the exchange, but this... Oh, rook takes a7 from white. Oh my goodness. Look at that. That's beautiful. All right. What just happened in that round? Antonio and Gummy Bear both won. And Boundless Main also won. Chess Elephant was the only one from UCLA to get a point. Wow. Man, I thought Roland was going to be able to get that, but rook takes c8, a7. What a finish from white after the blunder bishop to b6. That was a huge round for Northwestern. They're taking a 2-point lead with a 3-1 win in round 2. So UCLA's got to answer back. This is round 3 now. The halfway point of the match. We got Daniel, the point leader from UCLA, winning both their games 2-2. up now against Antonio El Camborio, the top board from Northwestern, Nikhil Kalgaki. I don't know what Antonio El Camborio is from, if it's a reference to something, or perhaps they just completely made it up. I have no idea. All right, so we have a trade on d4. Bishop takes, trying to get rid of that dark squared fianchetto. Black can dodge it or block it like they're doing now. So here, Daniel can take, and they do so with the knight. Now, black will probably take with the pawn. Bishop c5. An annoying pin on the knight on e7. So the threat of white is to take on d8, rook takes, then bishop takes e7, winning a piece. Black could trade queens first. Which would probably be smart. Black could also just play like bishop d7 or queen e8, which you don't really want to do. Okay, so trading on d1, rook f takes, or a takes. I don't know which is better. Taking with the f rook. So now the pressure is on this knight. Ooh, you can take and then give rook check. That's got to be annoying, no? Knight to b5 first, also annoying. How do you defend c7? How do you defend against the fork? Maybe you don't. c7 is guaranteed hanging. Like the knight is landing on c7, which means the rook on e8 is going to be hit, and the knight on e7 requires the defense of that rook. So Chess Elephant has a really beautiful position here against the higher rated opponent by 1 point, the top board from Northwestern. So the knight moves, but now knight c7. There it is. Bishop comes out, leaving both rooks hanging, but at least they're defending each other. Taking on a8. So Daniel is looking to go 3 out of 3, trying to get some points back for this UCLA team that's behind. Let's check in on other Gabe. Lost to the board 3, Gummy Bear, in the last round. Now looking to bounce back against Akil, the board 2 from Northwestern. Bishop pair for white. Both rooks well placed for white as well. Black's king has pushed a couple pawns in front of it. And the fianchetto bishop is on e7 instead of g7. So the knight comes back, perhaps looking at this square, but really looking at these squares maybe. But yeah, knight here comes with tempo. And this last pawn push kind of weakens d6 a little bit. Okay, knight comes in attacking the bishop. Bishop doesn't flinch. Says I'm going to hit your queen. So where does this queen go? Queen c6. Queen b7. So from now on, wherever the queen goes, you got to watch out for this fork from the knights. The queen right now is defending against that move. So now the bishop's hit by the knight. Does Gabe defend it? Let's take a look at Daniel's game really quick again. Yeah, he's up in exchange as well as a pawn. But we've seen sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes it takes more than that. All right. How's Roland doing against the gummy bear? Queen check. This king's pretty exposed. Rook g2. You grab this. It's always rook g6. The knight is hit. So white is up in exchange for 2 pawns. But it looks like white's going to get some material back. Knight comes back. Queen takes. Now this pawn is hanging. And if this pawn hangs, these pawns hang. So yeah, white's doing fine, honestly. The king is actually safer than it might seem. If this knight could land here, though. But yeah, you do have to be careful. Like, black's king isn't actually that safe either. These pawns are falling like dominoes. Apologies. Sorry about that. Okay, so back to this game. We do have a couple pawns drop. Black has come back defensively. C pawn's looking pretty weak right now. Probably best is to play e5 so that the knight can try to come to e6. So yeah, a little low on the clock. Let's check in with Daniel here. Looks like Daniel should be winning this one fairly easily. Let's check in with Gabe. Gabe's got more than twice his opponent's time and is up material. Black's trying to stir up some trouble here. That looks like a free pawn. Is that a free pawn? Maybe not. Maybe queen check wins material. So the knight reroutes. Maybe this is a threat. Yeah. Maybe that's a big threat. Probably queen e6. Let's check in with back with Roland versus Gummy Bear. Gummy Bear should win this one. Let's check out this game we haven't looked at. Hiron versus the board 4. Okapi. So, okay, rook hits the queen and defends the bishop. Queen has to go here, no? Queen here, but then knight takes, bishop takes. Oh, no. That's not good. That is not good. Yeah, and they're gonna run out of time. Other Gabe won their game with resignation. Whoa, 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 whoa. Here. I thought knight takes e5 was the idea. But knight b6 with the fork, and then Botez gambit. So Gabe bounces back. So they're 2 out of 3. Chess Elephant and time pressure down under a minute below his opponent, but a really strong position. So What's the deal? We're gonna see an exchange sacrifice. Hey, Kevin. Good to see you. We'll be streaming UC Berkeley after this, so stick around. We do have an exchange sacrifice with the move c5. c5. Yeah, pretty interesting. It also likes rook d5. Okay, so oh, this is lining up the bishop as well, actually. Wow. Okay, knight here, but now bishop check. That's lights out. That's lights out. Here's GG. Yeah, they missed that one. So well done from Daniel. Gummy Bear beat Roland here. Yeah, the queen and rook activity was just too strong. All right, let's check out the last board from Northwestern. So let's give a point to Daniel. He's 3 out of 3. 3 out of 3. Gummy Bear also gets a point. So 2 out of 3 for them. And now we're down to Hiron versus Okapi, Benjamin. Neither player has scored a point yet so far. Neither player with a point, but at least one of them's guaranteed something. Something here. It looks like Hiron's doing really well. Yeah. This move. Queen here. Wait. Can we attack the rook? Could we have attacked the rook somehow with one of these moves? Oh, I'm confused. The queen a5. What's the plan? Rook back, queen here. Dude, what is happening right now? Bishop here, pressure on the pawn. Queen takes. Now you take here, no? 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. Okay, they take. But now queen check. Rook takes, queen takes. Queen back to try to push the pawns. 4 seconds to 12. Getting the queens off. Oh man, 4, 3. I think Hiron's grasping at straws now. I don't know. Yeah, this pawn's gonna be promoting. This bishop is a good blockader of the promotion. So Hiron was down to their last second. Okay, bring the king over now. Yeah, the bishop's here to defend. King here, take this one. Yeah. Oof. Okay. Trying to get this bishop back, maybe. Pawn push. If bishop back, we take. Rook here, so we can get the bishop. Now check. No. Down 3 pawns. Oh, Hiron had a good position and then got the time pressure. Yeah, now every pawn's defended. Every piece defended. Rook here. Okay, rook here I would play. Okay, rook here now I'd play. Rook here. Yeah. Hiron's hoping for a miracle. All right. Hiron ran out of time. So Okapi gets the first point, maintaining Northwestern's 2-point lead. So Northwestern only needs a 1.5 in this final round. UCLA's bottom two boards haven't gotten any points. 5-7 is the score after 3 rounds. UCLA needs at least 3 out of 4 to win, or to ensure a draw. They need 3.5 out of 4 to win. So we will see. Can Northwestern hold their lead, or is UCLA going to fight back in this 4th round? So let's see. We got Hiron again against Gummy Bear now. So Hiron, no points so far today. They got the white pieces here. Looks like black is just speeding through the moves. They seem to know what they're doing. They're playing so fast. They're gaining time on the clock. Position's totally fine. But black is like not letting up at all. So white is left with a isolated pawn. The knight here, we're looking at potential knight sacrifices. I would get this knight out of here. I want to defend the knight with the queen. That's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm thinking about. So, Hiron's also thinking about it. Let's see the board ones. So board 1, Gabe is the favorite by almost 100 rating points. Board 2, Daniel's the favorite by like 40 rating points. This is the board 4s. Roland's favored by over 100 rating points. And board 2 is the favorite by like 70. So UCLA is literally the favorite on every single board, but they haven't been performing. This Northwestern team's been pretty good today. So it's a tough challenge here for the UCLA team. And yeah, Northwestern just needs 1 win out of 4 to not lose. That ensures the draw. But they're going to go for more. They're feeling confident. They're performing well. We had this move b6 and now bishop takes, which undermines the defense of d5. So the knight and the queen were both defending d5. And now, after bishop takes f6, nothing defends d5. So white takes on d5. Black plays back pretty quickly. Knight to b4. Attacking both pawns. The queen comes out conveniently, defending both. We could see bishop to b7, perhaps. No, bishop to a6, going after d3. Okay. Wow. The computer likes a move that I don't think is going to be played, but it likes this move. d4. Just saying, take the exchange. I don't care. So what's happening here? What is going on? How would you defend this otherwise? I don't think you can defend it. So, and yeah, d4 is not at all a natural move. Not at all natural. So the knight comes back to e1. This opens up the bishop as well. And so now white actually has a threat with this move of d6. Giving up the pawn for the exchange. Oh, wait. This blocks this. Wow. Queen takes a1. Okay, now queen a2. Queen a2. Oy. I'm too tired. Okay, queen a2 found. So Gabe is crushing now. Gabe should win this one. Gabe just picked up a free rook. Thank you very much. Okay, what's going on in this game? 1 Daniel is up an exchange, so that's nice. He's just planning on trading queens. This pawn's annoying. White has the bishop pair. So, okay, you can either trade queens or you can move the queen with the discovery on their queen. Daniel's also up time, which is good. He's beginning with some time pressure. Okay, what's going on in this game? White seems to be well off. This pawn push is coming. That's going to be annoying for black to deal with. And what's happening on this game? Hiron. Hiron is down on time. And he's down in the position as well. Can we go here? What's wrong with this move? Somebody tell me. What's up with this? Hiron's actually down in exchange. So, okay, knight back. Wait. Probably just rook takes. Rook takes. Yeah, just like don't give queen checks the knight. I'm sure some people would try to do that to gobble up the pawns, but dude, oh my god. What is this position? Rook takes f3. Pawn takes, now h3 falls. Okay, bishop check. This is just mate. This is just mate. GG. You can't go here because that's mate. Can't go here because that is mate. Here, bishop takes. I mean, yeah, this is game over. Oh, we had some results. Okay, Gabe and Elephant both won. So Gabe finishes today 3 out of 4. Elephant finishes 4 out of 4, the sweep. We're down to the last 2 games. It's tied up now at 7 apiece. We're down to Hiron, who's just lost. So Northwestern gets the 1 point that they need. Gummy Bear, strong performance, 3 out of 4, only losing to Daniel. So yeah, it all comes down to this one final game. We got Roland versus Benjamin. A win or a draw for Northwestern wins the match for them. Roland needs to win for a tie. So what's happening here? Can we take this? Can we just take that? I think we could just take that. Because if queen takes, oops, that's a GG. And if the queen doesn't take, well, we're getting something good, right? Is Roland going to find it? I mean, surely he knows that queen takes f7 is checkmate, which means the queen is tied down. And to get queen takes f7, you have to move the knight. So surely you're looking for knight moves, right? He's thinking a lot. I mean, there's probably other good moves too, but I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking about. They're under a minute now. Under a minute. Rook A to E1. Okay. So trying to give up this knight on F5. Kind of funny. So bishop out. This defends D6 now. So taking D6 is no longer there. So knight takes D6. I mean, that was kind of GG. So now what's happening? Roland's way down on the clock too now. I mean, don't get me wrong, the position's still good for white, but not nearly as good as it was. And the time pressure is going to be too much very soon. So knight d4, it's a solid move. This bishop on e5 is so good now because like the bishop was on h8. Now it's on e5. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, we're giving up our really good bishop on h6 to get rid of their really good bishop on e5. They might not even take it. They might go back to... No, they take here first. Take here. I would be very surprised if they took on d4. But that does give black a passed pawn. I don't think it's good though. So the pawn's very weak. And our bishop can become very strong again on h6. You don't want to give up that dark square bishop. I'm pretty sure. Wow, they do it. C takes. Now you gotta watch out. You gotta watch out for bishop h6, queen f6. Bishop here first hits the rook. Very weird, I think. I don't know. Okay, bishop f6 or h6. This should be winning again now. I think taking on d4 was a huge mistake. So now the queen wants to get to h6. That's all you gotta do. So black should actually play h6 so that they can play king to h7. They have plenty of time to figure this out, but h6 is kind of not intuitive. But yeah, rook to d7 kind of blocks the queen. So, man, maybe you need to bring the rook to like here, this rook, so that you can play queen here to get here. But now, like, yeah, here. Oh, this is bad. This is really bad. Roland's got 15 seconds though. Come on. Oh, he doesn't want to take the rook. He wants to leave the f pawn here. So takes, and now queen h6. That's GG. That is GG. That is GG. Roland gonna clutch out a huge draw. There's check. Rook takes, pawn takes. Yeah. There's bishop takes, king takes, or king anywhere. Just not even allowing for a second check. If you take, there's another check to give, but there's no stopping queen g7. Wow, Roland. What a finish. We're going to have to drill you on this knight takes d6 move. So yeah, the top two boards from UCLA, a combined 7 out of 8. We got 1 point from our bottom two boards from Roland here in the final match to tie everything up at 8 points apiece. So Northwestern, very strong, well-rounded team. UCLA, very top-heavy, it seems, in terms of performance. So yeah, overall, tied 8-8. Very, very close match. And we'll see if these teams face off again in the playoffs, which would be exciting because then we'd have tiebreakers.